What's going on, guys? Pepperbell here, bringing you some more Chivalry Medieval Warfare multiplayer gameplay. I really don't know why I insist on throwing the word multiplayer into games that are clearly only focused on multiplayer. What the fuck? So you can see me swinging my fists around because fisticuffs have been imported into the game. Kind of neat, actually, because after watching that, whatchamacallit, the Day with the Devs video that they put up on their Facebook and also on their channel, obviously, you can see that they have a nice little match between them, punching each other in the groin and having just a jolly old time. And it looks kind of fun, actually, so I'm looking forward to actually trying it out in the game. I never actually tried using it because I did not see the point when people are coming at me with swords, because I don't think you can actually block effectively with just your forearms, because, I mean, it kind of defeats the purpose of when you would use a weapon to parry, because otherwise, I mean, what's the point of your armor? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense that you'd be able to block with your forearms suddenly, but you cannot take a swing to them when you have a weapon in your hand. Like, it didn't make any sense to me, so I didn't bother attempting it at all. I mean, I'm thinking of doing some kind of live commentary sometime, at some point, something of that general genre of doing something with just fisticuffs, running around the map and punching people in the face and trying to see if I can win just by using only my fists. Only use me fists. Start a new channel, huh? Just kidding, that'd be really gay. Anyways, so the patch was released last night. A lot of things actually changed in the patch as well. They added some the new halberd, I think it was, which they changed. I'm not sure if they changed the aesthetic look to it. I don't really know. I haven't seen the appearance and all that crap. I haven't really touched that weapon, actually. They also raised the counts for how many kills you need to unlock weapons from 25 to 100, where before it was a lot easier. It was like 10 and 30 or something like that. And now it's a little bit more difficult, but I mean, it does count your kills overall. So, I mean, if you already played this game for quite some time, extensively like I have, a lot of these weapons will still be unlocked regardless. So, I unfortunately have to unlock the heavy crossbow again with another 59 kills, even though I unlocked it the first time around, which is like, shit. That's going to take a long time now that, I mean, 59 kills with a light crossbow or a regular crossbow, it's going to take some time. I mean, I don't know about you, but god damn. And then I got the longbow. I only need 2 more kills for the heavy bow, which was very easy to get. I mean, I just shot 2 people in the face with arrows and bam, there you go, you know. But some weapons are, like the cudgel, I have to, oh god damn it. The cudgel's going to be a pain in the ass to unlock with like the shitty sidearms, because the cudgel's amazing and everything else is kind of shit, so that'll be kind of shit. It's just not to my fancy. I'm not very good with them. The short sword was kind of a neat weapon to just go in there and stab the shit out of people really quickly with, but I mean, it's not as effective as it was. It seems almost like the animations, everything are a little bit slower. Like, there's a lot more of a weighty aspect to it ever since they had this patch. You can definitely tell that things just feel heavier. Moving your character around, swinging your sword, there's a lot more devastating effects to everything you do in this game. So if you, like, you know, stab someone in the face, it actually feels like you're stabbing someone in the face. Like, and you can almost feel the crunch of, like, you're trying to break through his armor and seep into his flesh and make him bleed out and die, or whatever, cut off his arm or something, or cut off his head, or do whatever you gotta do to kill him. And it feels a little bit different now, and it feels kind of better in my opinion. Like, it's gonna take a little while of getting used to, because they did change a lot of things. Like, some of the weapons are a lot slower now, some of the weapons are faster. It really depends on which weapon you picked or which one you're going with. So it does feel different, and it will take a little bit while to get used to, because I'm not, usually the swords are slow enough to me as it is, you know, as it is, so now they're even slower, so it's kind of just like, oh shit, now I really gotta time my strikes and all that good stuff. They also added additional battle cries for some of the VOs, for some of the characters, mostly the Agatha, because they have, now they have like a variety of battle cries, and they also changed the keys for that as well. So instead of having the accidental mistake of where you stop for a fraction of a second and you press the battle cry button, and you accidentally stop, and your kind of guy just goes through the emotes, you know, he's doing like the taunt, the actual animation for it, and then people jump you and you're like, no shit, you're like spamming the key to try to like quit it, but it's too late because you're already at mid, and then they take you out, you know. They essentially resolved that issue by having it so they have a key that's specifically for the mobile battle cry, and they have a key that's specifically for the actual emote itself, which you can't even use unless you completely stop moving. So they swapped that out, so it's the X key now for the mobile, C key for the battle cry taunt animation by default. You can change them to whatever you want. Before, was the X key was one of the actual voice over the actual dialogue box you use to actually say things physically in the game, which they changed it to the Z key, which is what it's always been. But now, instead of having like 2 different menus, one for tactical, one for specifically personal type stuff, like taunting and laughing and all that kind of shit, they actually decided to incorporate it all into one specific window. So you press Z, it opens up, it'll give you like, oh, press 1 through 4 for whichever one you want. So 1 and 2 will be probably personal messages, 3 and 4 will be tactical messages, and you open them up and have smaller windows, so you can pretty much do everything with one hand instead of having to be like, okay, shit, Z, and then 9, which either you have to, like, you know, take your hand off the WASD and press 9, or take your hand off the mouse, whereas now it's like, you can just do it all with one hand, and you're good to go, pretty much, and, you know, rape shit, because that's what this game's about, killing everything viciously and savagely, because that's just, you know. They also changed some of the options. Now you have a field of view slider actually available to use in the video section of the settings menu. So you can actually go in there and be like, alright, I want to have a field of view of 120. So it goes from, I don't even know the lowest one, I think it was like 70 through 120, something around that. I think it was default, it was 80 or 90, I don't really remember, I'm completely like all over the place, I don't got my facts straight on that part, but all I know is that they incorporated the slider, so you no longer need to go into the console and be like, FOV, toggle, fucking whatever you want it to be, which at the time was like 95, or the 100 was the highest you can go, which they increased it. So for those of you who want higher field of views, well, there you go, buddy. It's good to go. Now you can kill things even more effectively and have more peripheral vision. They also changed some of the third-person perspective options. So before it was like you press P and it'll toggle you, well, that's the default key, I changed mine, but you press key and it'll toggle you through all the view modes. So it'll be like, oh, right side shoulder, left shoulder, fucking center view, under his friggin' underwear view, like shit like that, and it just like, and it would change and toggle it and it'd be kind of annoying, but now they actually have it so you press P, or you can set it differently. For some reason P is set for both, so I don't know what it does on that for having both. Maybe it's the same as default, but for me, whenever I have it set as my V key, which before I had it as one of my thumb mouse buttons, but now that I have dodge on that, one button dodge, I decided to just put it as the V key, which is kind of convenient because it kind of feels nice to just like, you know, linger down and press it if you want to get another view, essentially. So you press that and it'll toggle between the current selected view you have. So if you go and press P, it's toggle through all the views, find the one you prefer. Mine's the center view, which is kind of similar to War of the Roses. Then after you select that, then I'll just toggle first person and third person with the V key. That's how I do it. And it's a lot more convenient than having to keep scrolling through it to find the one you want, and then scrolling all the way back to first person, because what I tend to do is I like to occasionally switch to third person, which you've probably seen in some of my older videos where I'll just be running around doing my own thing, and I'll switch to third person just to get a little bit more awareness before I go into combat, and then when I'm actually in a combat situation, I'll almost all the time switch to first person to actually have precision melee and know exactly what's going on, where I'm striking the enemy, have full control of my character, and then running around, probably switch back to third person, just for a little bit more visual eye candy as I'm doing what it is I'm doing, moving around and navigating the map, the area, whatever. They also added some more skull-crushing graphics and animations. They actually made it so if you make a person's head explode, it's no longer just like little red bits all over the place. You'll actually see fractions of his skull. Like, you'll see like the top of his head, like his cheekbone and shit like that. They all just come flying out in all directions with brain matter and all that shit everywhere. And it's like really cool. And they added all these new, or all these little extra things just to the head exploding that just makes it so much more like, oh shit, I just did that. Oh yeah, buddy, take that. And fuck, it's just so much better looking. But they fixed a lot of things. I think this was probably their biggest patch actually they came out with, because it fixed and resolved a lot of issues, almost at the point where the game feels almost completely different. Like, it doesn't feel exactly the same, which is one of the things I really hate about participating in betas, because you get really, really used to playing it a very specific way, even with all the bugs. You learn how to counter it and do all these really weird things. Just, you get used to it, right? And then the next patch rolls out and everything's changed. You're like, fuck. Like, I have to get used to everything all over again, especially if they change weapons around. It's kind of just like, right, I just mastered this Claymore, man, right on. And they're like, yeah, the Claymore now is delayed by 30 million more seconds for melee. And you're like, shit. And it's like your favorite weapon, and you go back to try to play it again, you're like, shit, this is no longer a weapon I'm good with, and you gotta find something else, and stuff like that, you know, it happens. You gotta live with it, though, because that's just the way betas are. It's for balancing reasons, right? You can't have a super powerful weapon compared to, like, other weapons where it's just like, clearly this is the obvious choice to pick if you want to win, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to do that. They want to balance it, make it pretty much skill-based, and whichever class you select, you want to play it best tailored to that class, which is quite nice. And they did that. I think they did that pretty well, actually, so far. Everything feels a lot better. The polearms aren't as fucking overpowered as they were before. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, getting my freaking shit kicked in by getting stabbed from across the map with a halberd or something, like, it got really ridiculous. A lot of the polearms always seem to be able to make contact with you even when you were, like, clearly out of range or something, or stuff like that. So they fixed that as well. I haven't actually went up against a halberd in a while, though, so I'm not really sure exactly how it's going to be, but I know they changed the look of it, and they definitely made some tweaks to the polearms in general, just to make them play better and not be completely fucked. So hit detection, I'm not sure about you guys, but it seems to be slightly improved. I'm able to actually hit guys when it looks like my weapon's actually hitting them. So it's not like I'm swinging my weapon and it's kind of just like in the general vicinity of where the player is, or it doesn't look like it's quite touching them yet, but somehow still dealing damage. Like when you stab, usually with the sword I'm using right now, which I think is a Sword of War, I'm not entirely sure. If I stab forward with it, it's a fairly short sword considering it's a two-handed, and you have to, you know, get really close to the guy to actually make contact with him. And sometimes it'll look like I'm right about to touch him, but it won't, because it's a little bit more accurate. You can even see that as I go in for a stab, it's like a little bit more precise than it was before. And of course I just killed a teammate there. Precision, alright. Anyway, so they definitely made this map run a little bit better, because now you can actually, we went all the way through to the end, as you can see, like, well, you will see. We get to the end of the map, we go on the ballistas, we sink the ships, we win. It's great. And before, it was really hard for me to get gameplay of that because the trebuchets would kind of glitch out sometimes, where we'd be standing there forever, and even though the bar would be full, it wouldn't really actually work, I guess I could say. Like, it'd be full, but it wouldn't actually fully get destroyed. Like, it would just sit there and we'd be like, come on, what the fuck? But now they actually get destroyed. You can see we're salting across the bridge, and you can just see how, like, savage this looks. Everything is just fucking glorious. Go in there and kill everything. It's gonna be like one of the most epic battles ever. My tip to you guys is the bottom right, where I end up fighting the majority of this section. You can see I come up here, and then once I die, I never come back up here again. Why? It's the most obvious place to come to on this map. Everyone insists on fighting in this general area, so I always go on the bottom right and pretty much go on the, you know, where they don't really realize you're there. Some archers will realize that, oh shit, I can shoot from down, you know, as you can see that's going on right here. The archer's taking shots down at that guy that's near that ballista down there. It's very rare that people would actually catch on to that. So, tip, go down there, and tip, if you're on the Mason side, also go down there and prevent them from, you know, taking advantage of the fact that all the attention's drawn up here. Because it's a very easy way to it's kind of like a flanking maneuver, only you're not going to flank the enemy to destroy them, you're flanking the enemy so that you can fire off and destroy their ships in the opposite direction of where they are, essentially, while they're being distracted. But some guys actually came down here and tried messing with us, and it didn't work too well, because of course I came in here and it was like, hell no, we're gonna sink your ships whether you like it or not, you sons of bitches. Which I felt bad, because you know me, I like Mason. And I was like, sinking the shit. Actually, I don't really care. I'm still waiting for my Mason Order t-shirt. When's that coming, Torn Banners? I gotta parade around naked in that thing. Because that's what I gotta do. Because that's what the Mason does. But the ballista actually glitches on me at one point, where I try to get on it and try to shoot a ship with it, and it just stops working. So it happened once I got hit with an arrow, I believe it was, while I was manning it. Because I fired off one, I hit a ship right on the top of the deck too. It was pretty neat. And then I tried to get on it again afterwards, and then for some reason I got shot as I was trying to, you know, take out the ship, and it just didn't work after that. I was trying to get on it and try to fire it, and it didn't. Oh, look at that! I got kicked right off the side. I was trying to give him a taste of his own medicine, but it didn't really work. So I figured just making his head explode into chunks of shit would be just as good. So I get hit with an arrow, and it kind of glitches everything out. So you'll see me, I'll be able to aim at this thing, and I fire off one. There it goes, and then as it reloads, I think I get hit again. Not entirely sure. I get hit multiple times until I die, actually. Which I was never able to get the shot off, which was incredibly annoying. And that fucking archer just being... Oh, God. It's such an effective thing, too, because you're down here and you can't really fight back. See, like, I was just about to get the shot off there, too, and he just... Yeah, and then he takes me out. I was just like, son of a bitch. Like, fucking asshole. I really hate archers sometimes. Unless they're my arrows and I'm the archer, then... I like it, but I mean, I can really see how getting shot at by an archer is just the most... Oh man, the rage, because you can't fight back, especially when you're in a situation like that where it's like, buddy had 2 hatchets to throw at them, and I'm just sitting there like, I don't have anything. I can fucking give them, you know, I can give mean faces in their direction, you know, like, nah, give them snarky remarks and stuff, but I can't really kill them. Like, they'll just keep shooting at me, and unless someone actually is down there with a shield protecting me, then I'm pretty much screwed. Drained all my stamina here, which was probably the first time I've ever actually done that, and not actually effectively killed the guy too, which was... And then just slowly, you know, closing it on him, and then boom. Buddy comes out of nowhere and finishes him off. Like it was nothing. I actually laughed really hard when that happened, because I was not expecting it. I was just like, oh, he's backing away from me. Yeah, I got this, I got this. And then Buddy comes around the corner, just stabs him like crazily in the face. So I was actually trying to shoot during this entire thing. I was spamming the click button, it wasn't working. No idea why. Kind of sucked. So I just got off it, let him get on it, and then have him try to take out the ship, which he does, and he sinks and we win the game. One of you guys actually messaged me about the 64-man server to join in. You guys are like, whoa man, 64-man server, come and play this shit. So I was like, whoa my god, and of course I did. Got 5 minutes of gameplay and then the server crashed, so it was kind of a shame. I actually had the gameplay, I was going to post it originally, but I decided it's not worth it because it doesn't look that much different from the regular 60 or 32 player. It's actually way better in my opinion. It ran pretty smooth other than the fact that the server did eventually crash because of stress, I'm guessing, overload. The awesomeness, it could not handle the awesomeness. That was basically what was going on. And unfortunately, I decided that the gameplay just wasn't sufficient enough to post on my channel, so I figured I'll save it for another time. There actually are a couple servers that are actually still with 64-man, and they say that they're test servers, and I saw one, it's like Chicago something 64-man, whatever. I'm not sure if that's actually like a legitimate server that they have put up or what's going on with that, but no one seems to be in it. But it works, so I'm pretty sure that by release they probably could actually have a 64-man server out there, so possibilities are there. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to rate the video, comment the video, and subscribe if you want to see more in the future. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, guys, because, you know, now that I have one, I use it. In fact, well, I'm going to use it once you guys start following me, and the live stream, so, yeah. Take care, guys.